Hi everyone, so welcome back. So today's concept is going to be on exceptions in Python, which means we are going to learn about errors and how to handle errors in Python. So coming to errors, what exactly is an error? Any mistake that is done in the code when a developer writes the code, when any mistake happens is called as errors. Okay, now there are three types of errors. The first one is compile time error. Next, logical error. Third one is the runtime error. What is compile time error? Now, when a programmer writes a code, for example, if A is greater than B, print is greater. If this is the part of the code. Now, I'm teaching you about compile time error. It is a compile time error. Okay, so when a programmer writes a code like this, but as per the syntax of Python program, every conditional statement should be terminated with a colon. If the programmer forgets to follow the syntax, if he doesn't write the colon symbol, then an error during the compilation, it is called as compile time error. This type of error is called as compile time error, which means syntax errors. Syntax errors are also called as compile time error. Got it? Second one, logical error. What is logical error? When we write the program, when a programmer is writing the program, I want to get A. Suppose I have A is equal to 2, B is equal to 2. I want to print A plus B. The answer should be 4. But instead of getting 4, if I get the answer as 5, there is some logic mistake. Logically, code is wrong. Such type of error is called as logical error. If the answer that I'm expecting, rather than getting that answer, if you get another answer, then it is called as logic error. So the developer has to go inside the program and then debug the code in order to resolve the logical error. The third one is runtime error. Runtime error. So error that occurs during execution is called as a runtime error. When a program is executing, started its execution, at that time if any error occurs, then it is called as runtime error, which means the program will be abruptly terminated. The program abruptly terminates during when a runtime error occurs. So the program will stop its execution. That is called as runtime error. So these are three types of error: compile time, logical error, and runtime error. Okay, now how do we handle this runtime error? We have to learn the concept of exception. How to handle the runtime error? We are going to learn the concept of exception. Compile time error, when we start the compilation, at that time the error will be thrown at this particular line. Some syntax is missing, so the programmer himself, before releasing the code, he has to go debug. Logical error, the same way, we won't be getting the expected answer. But runtime error, there won't be compile time error, there won't be logical error, but when the program is running, in between, when an error occurs, the program stops the execution abruptly and it terminates. Such type of error is called as runtime error. So in order to handle runtime error, we have to learn the concept of exception. So okay, now let me teach you with an example program. Suppose the code A is equal to 3, B is equal to 2. I want to print A divided by B. The first example. Okay, if this is the part of the code that I have, A is 3, B is equal to print A divided by B. What is the output that I'll get for this particular code? It is 3 divided by 2, 1.5. So I get the answer as 1.5. Suppose if the programmer develops the code keeping the programmer insight in mind, the thoughts in mind. But what if suppose the end user enters, instead of 2, if the end user enters B as 0, I'm printing A divided by B. In such case, there is an error. What is the error? Division by 0 error. So a number is divided by 0. It throws error, runtime error. it throws a runtime error, which means a program after running, when it starts its execution, it will first execute the first line, then the second line. When it is executing the third line, it abruptly stops by throwing the error. So what type of, what are the errors that will be displayed? I'll tell you. It will be trace back. You'll get trace back file home slash main.py line. Okay, suppose if it is line number 3, line 3 in a particular module. Okay, it will show print a divided by b followed by 0 division error. Division by 0. So this is the error that will be displayed once if we execute this particular code, when the denominator value is given the value 0, if it is given 0. Okay, so trace back, you'll have two parts, trace back and what is the error, what type of error it is. Trace back means it will tell you, it will give you the entire path followed by which line number the error occurs and where exactly we have to change in order to stop this particular type of error. What is the error in this particular line? It is division 0 division error, that is division by 0 error. Okay, now this happens, this is the error that will be thrown up during the runtime error. Now the third one, assume a is equal to 3, b is equal to 0. I write print a divided by b. Okay, now I'll take for example b value as 2, then I write print successful execution. Okay, now for this part of code, what is the output? What is the output that I get? A is equal to 3, b is equal to 2, fine. Print a divided b, I get 1.5. What is the answer? You'll get successful execution, right? So this is the output for this code. What if suppose instead of 2 I give 0, which means 3 divided by 0, then it comes to this particular line, it will throw up an error. I won't be getting immediately after third line, after line 3, program terminates abruptly, which means output, it will just display this error, it will display this error. I won't be getting successful execution. Successful execution will not be displayed. So this is a problem, right? Because immediately after error has occurred, the next line won't be executed. Okay, so how do we handle such type of error? With the concept of exception. With the concept of exception, we will handle such type of error, which means after finding out there is an error in this particular line, it will throw up what is the error and then we will get the output successful execution also. How do we change that? Now see the same code. A is equal to 3, b is equal to 0. Now I try, there is a try block, try colon print a divided by b. There is a try block, try a divided by b. If there is an error, if there is no error, then it will execute. If there is an error here, immediately we have to catch the error, except space exception colon print cannot divide a number by 0. Okay, then finally print successful execution. Now see the output. A is equal to 3, b is equal to 0. Try print a divided by b, which means 3 is divided by 0. Now there is division by error, division by 0 error. What happens? Immediately it will come, it will find out the exception. What is the statement that I am printing here? Cannot divide a number by 0. Now after this execution, it will just output will be I'll get cannot divide a number by 0. And since after printing this, print is after the except, which means the last line, so this line will also be executed, which means I get successful execution, which means it has found out the error and it will display what is the type of error that we have done. Okay, the user has done, and finally it will display successful execution. Now I'll just change the part of the code. Just observe, a is equal to 3, b is equal to 0, I'm trying, print a divided by b. Then if there is any error except exception, print cannot divide a number by 0. Fine. Then within except I write print by, then after that I write print successful execution. Now check. So previously what happened? See in this example. Okay, a is equal to 3, before try and except block, a is equal to 3, b is equal to 0, print a divided by b. Fine. When b value denominator was 0, it will not print anything, which means after the print statement, after the third line, since there was an error, this line will not be executed, right? But when we had used try and except block here, try print a by b, it found out there is an error. It will display what is the error here, and then finally, even though there is error, it will stop. It will not abruptly stop the execution of the program. It will display what is the error, cannot divide by 0. Then it will print successful execution. Similarly, see this example, a equal to 3, b is equal to 0, I'm trying 3 divided by 0. Okay, there is an exception, I have to handle that. Immediately come, cannot divide a number by 0. Then it will print by, followed by successful execution. Okay, now if here instead of b 0, b was 2, what will happen? 3 divided by 2. Okay, then it will print the answer as 1.5. It will not enter the except block because there is no error here. Only when there is error it will enter the except block, otherwise it will not enter the except block. Then I'll get the output as successful execution. This will be the output. Clear? So it will not print cannot divide a number by 0, and by it will only print successful execution. So I hope this is the basics of exception in Python. Okay, and for next video I'll be posting various example programs on exception. Thank you.